No Witchcraft for Sale by Doris Lessing. The Farquhars had been childless for years when little Teddy was born, and they were touched by the pleasure of their servants, who brought presents of fowls and eggs and flowers to the homestead when they came to rejoice over the baby, exclaiming with delight over his downy golden head and his blue eyes. They congratulated Mrs. Farquhar as if she had achieved a very great thing, and she felt that she had. Her smile for the lingering, admiring Neptis was warm and grateful. Later, when Teddy had his first haircut, Gideon the cook picked up the soft gold tubes from the ground and held them reverently in his hand. Then he smiled at the little boy and said, "Little Yellowhead." That became the native name for the child. Gideon and Teddy were great friends from the first. When Gideon had finished his work, he would leave Teddy on his shoulders to the shade of a big tree and play with him there, forming curious little toys from twigs and leaves and grass, or saving animals from wetted soil. When Teddy learned to walk, it was often Gideon who crouched before him, clucking encouragement, finally catching him when he fell, tossing him up in the air till the boat became breathless with laughter. Mrs. Farquhar was fond of the old cook because of his love for her child. There was no second baby, and one day Gideon said, "Ah, Mrs., the Lord above sent this one. Little Yellowhead is the most good thing we have in our house." Because of that, Mrs. Farquhar felt a warm impulse toward her cook, and at the end of the month she raised his wages. He had been with her now for several years. He was one of the few natives who had his wife and children in the compound and never wanted to go home to his kraal, which was some hundreds of miles away. Sometimes a small pecan who had been born the same time as Daddy could be seen peering from the edge of the box, staring in a way at the little white boy with his miracles, fair hair and northern blue eyes. The two little children would gaze at each other with a wide interest. Grace and Orange Teddy put out his hand curiously to touch the black child's cheeks and hair. Teddy was about 6 years old when he was given a scooter and discovered the enthusiasm of speed. All day He would fly around the homestead in and out of flower beds, scattering squeaking chickens and irritated dogs, finishing with a wide, dizzying arch into the kitchen door. On the day that Teddy came staggering into the kitchen with his forced to his eyes, swearing with pain, Kieran dropped the pot full of hot soup that he was holding raised to the chill, and forced aside his finger. "A snake!" he exclaimed. Teddy had been on his scooter, and had become to a rest with his foot on the side of a big tub of plants. A tree snake, hanging by its tail from the roof, had spat full into his eyes. Mrs. Farquhar came running when she heard the commotion. "He'll go blind," she sobbed, holding Teddy close against her. "Kieran will go blind." Already the eyes, with perhaps half an heart's sake left in them, were swollen off to the size of fish. Teddy smiled with face was disturbed by great purple oozing protuberance. Kieran said, "Wait a minute, missus. I'll get some medicine." He ran off into the bus. Mrs. Farquhar lifted the child into the house and bathed his eyes with permanganate. She had scarcely heard Kieran's words, but when she saw that her remedies had no effect at all, and remembered how she had seen natives with no sight in their eyes because of the spitting of a snake, she began to look for the return of her cook, remembering what she heard of the efficacy of native herbs. The scientists, seeing their face, went back to his first point, which was the advancement of humanity. He was perhaps a trifle perfunctory. It was not the first time he had come salting the tale of a fabulous bus secret. After some time, when the sirens had gone from between the Farquhars and Giron, they began to joke. "When are you going to show us the snake route, Giron?" And he would laugh and shake his head, saying, a little uncomfortable, "But I did show you, missus. Have you forgot?" Much later, Teddy, as a schoolboy, would come into the kitchen and say, "You old rascal, Kieran. Do you remember that time you tricked us out by making us walk miles all over the field for nothing?" It was so far my father had to carry me, and Gideon would double up with polished laughter. After much logging, he would suddenly straighten himself, wipe his old eyes, and look sadly at Teddy, who was grinning mischievously at him across the kitchen. "Oh, little yellowhead, how you have grown!" Soon you will be crowned up with a farm of your own.